Um, I have to say though, Perry, I'm the only one in my library
Uh-huh.
for the last month and for the upcoming month. So if I have a bevy of students that come in and need help, I'm going to have to jump up and help them.
Okay. Well, then I'll go ahead and call the meeting to
Sorry.
order. Let me get my roll call up here. So we've got Brent,
I want.
Beth, Cheryl, Tia, Marcia, Mary, Mary Finney, Ryan, and there's somebody listed as Sage Library System that I'm not sure who that is, whether you're a user council member or not. And Teresa from Elgin. So it looks like we do not have a quorum at this point. So let me just check to see if that person that's listed as Sage is one of the council members I haven't already listed. We're missing Delia, Anne, Faith Adams, Debbie Lind, Aaron Wells, Marie Baldo, John, is that you that said you had to leave, or was that Jeff? I'm not sure who I
Hi,
was speaking to.
hi, Perry. That's me, Sage. I'm still here.
And who, I'm not sure who you are.
This is John at
Oh,
Columbia
you're,
Gorge.
okay, thanks, John.
I'm sorry.
I thought you were,
I was just saying that if students come in and out,
I thought you might have been Jeff. All right.
no, sorry about that.
Okay. And Marcia is here. Okay, so we still are one short of a quorum. We just have 46%, 6 out of the 13 that we need to conduct business. So we can't make any decisions today, but we can certainly hear, well, we have to elect officers, and so we can't even really do that. We'll just hold on and see if some other people join us. Did somebody just join the meeting?
Hi, this is Linda from Plane Tree. I apologize for being late.
Oh, excellent, Linda. Thank you.
You bet.
That gives us a quorum, so we can continue now. First of all, I want to welcome all of the new members and say many thanks to all of the outgoing members. The new members and re-enlisting members, Delia, Mary Reeser, Faith Adams, Aaron Wells, Marie Baldo, and re-enlisting is Linda. So thank you all for your agreeing to serve for the next 2 years. We look forward to working with you. There also needs to be a mention, I think, of some people that had perfect attendance for the last year. Delia, Ann Zwelke, Dia Noel, Ryan McGinnis, Mary Finney, and Linda Stahl. So great job. Thanks for making all the meetings. The first order of business is to see if there's any additions or deletions from the agenda. Does anybody have anything to edit, add to the agenda. We've got reports and then just 2 items of new business, the regular meeting time and new membership, hearing a new membership request from Harney County Schools. Any objection to accepting that as our agenda? I'm hearing a little whistle in response. Somebody's got a windy mic. So I will accept the agenda as approved by unanimous consent. We'll move on to officer elections. John and I are retiring our positions, so we need to have nominations for chair and vice chair for the next fiscal year. Who would like to volunteer or nominate others for chair and vice chair if you want to make them both at the same time? No volunteers? No nominations? I'm not sure what to make of that.
You know, Perry, I would volunteer to be president, but I'm the last person in my library, and I just can't do it. Otherwise, I would volunteer to be the president this year. So I respectfully have to bow out because I'm the only one in my library until I can get somebody else hired.
Okay. If you can see my screen, you can see that the history of officers for the last 4 years has kind of vacillated between Buzzy and myself. We
Right.
really need somebody to step up and take over.
Beth?
Yeah. I don't think I can serve as chair.
No, I don't think.
Not that I'm not willing.
It needs to be somebody from the council.
Yeah. It sounds like we need to do some recruiting.
Well, I kind of had spoken with Marie Baldo about it, and she was not unwilling to do it, but she's not at the meeting here today.
Okay.
So hearing absolutely no nominations, I guess we'll have to table the election of officers, and that means John and I are not off the hook yet.
We
so
could do an email
vote
vote once we have some candidates, right?
We could do that, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so moving on. Sorry, I didn't get the minutes from the meeting. Actually, it wasn't April 29th, was it May?
Yeah.
The May 29 minutes done until the last moment. Well, we did have the audio up just a week afterward. So it took me a while to get those transcribed. If everyone has had a chance to look those over, would someone like to move to approve them?
This is Dia.
Oh, yes.
On page 3, you had a question about the 830.
Yes.
There's a cataloging committee. It's actually the 8XX at that point.
Okay.
There's 2 different ones there.
Okay.
That are possible.
I've made that update. Okay. Do I have Any?
If there are no further updates, I would move to approve the minutes as amended. It's Mary Finney and Pendleton.
Thank you, Mary.
Ryan and LeGrand, I'll second that.
Great. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Any objection to approving those? Hearing none, they are approved by unanimous consent. Now we have a chance for open forum comments for the general membership. Is anyone attending that would like to speak to the user council on an item that's not already on the agenda? Okay, hearing none, we will close the forum and move on to reports. Starting with SAGE staff. I know Beth and Brent are both here. Beth, would you like to start?
Oh, did he? Yeah.
Sure. I can start.
Okay, I'm getting some chatter, so I'm going to mute everyone. If you need to speak, you'll need to unmute your mic. But I'll leave you unmuted, Beth.
Thank you. All right. I think things have been going fairly well in the system. I'm going to mention that I'm going to be starting on the annual statistics very soon, since we've completed the fiscal year. So I'll be putting together the spreadsheet that I normally do each year for our statistics. And let's see, I am going to be working from Michigan for the next few weeks, visiting my daughter who just had a baby. So I'll be staying in touch and working at least 2 hours a day in my absence. One other thing, I'm going to be sending out some information about OCLC, ILLs. We did get a quote from them, and I need feedback from the members on what they think about the quote and whether there's a way to be able to afford it, I guess, and see if the ILL service is important enough SAGE-wide to do something as a consortium versus individually.
And Baker, we just signed up independently for that, so we just starting to use it. Yeah.
Okay, it would be interesting for me to know what other libraries are going to do on that, because I typically get help requests online that, you know, are asking for the service, and it's hard for me to know what to tell them.
Yeah.
Beth, can I jump in here a minute?
Yes. Hi, Mary.
It's Mary from Pendleton. And Perry, I'd like to know what you were quoted for, what your price would be.
Okay. I can send that to you on the side, I think.
So should I even bother sending out the email? Do you think that the majority of the libraries are going to go on their own?
You know, it might be helpful for this next year for libraries to go on their own, and then you would have an idea of how many are actually willing to contribute to that.
Well,
to commit.
Yeah, I understand. Out of curiosity, Perry, are you just offering the service for free, or are you going to do a cost recovery on it?
We're just offering it for free.
Okay.
But just now starting to use it, we're not really familiar. There might be some additional charges that we might have to recover on there, but for the basic one, I think we endeavor to have it made available for free.
Okay.
This is Mary back again, and I think for me, I would like to see what the quote comes out with through OCLC. I'd hate to think that all libraries can join in OCLC. I'm doubting that we would be able to. The costs, I'm assuming the costs are going to be pretty high. So I would hate to say all libraries have to go on their own until we've really scoped it out. Beth, could you go ahead and send out that email and see what the interest is?
I can, and I can even share the quote that OCLC gave us for all the libraries different now that Baker has gone independent. It should lower the quote, but I'd have to go back to them. But I can give you what it was originally as a comparison. So I'll go ahead and continue to send that email out and ask for feedback from libraries too. One of the drawbacks of doing it Sage-wide, and I'll say this up front, is that everything would have to go through Sage as far as the libraries couldn't be listed individually, so it would lengthen time because it would have to get delivered to the Sage office and then sent out to whatever library it pertained to, and probably would involve staff time on my end to facilitate the interlibrary loan, unless we figured out a different way to do it. Because if it's a Sage-wide account, unless we all share the same login and password, and there's logistical issues, I guess, with having a joint one. But
my thought is that when Jeff did it from LeGrand, they came directly from the library, I believe.
Yeah, it would. Well, they would come to EOU and then would be put on the courier to you from EOU. Okay, well, I will let Brent talk about some system changes that we've made recently and things that we're looking at.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Is that Brent?
Okay. Yeah, so I'm sending a link to the slides I was going to use in the chat. So that, if I can send that. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so this is just kind of a brief run through of what's kind of been going on since the last meeting. Yeah, so as you can kind of see there in the top, we've put in those sliders for the new books. And I've worked with the Mobius Consortium in Missouri that actually did the whole script to update those sliders. And so I think we have ours pretty well tuned. We have a recently returned items list. We've got recently added, top circulated within the last 2 weeks, and they've been tuned to kind of get rid of magazines that were kind of polluting the sliders a little bit with, because if someone had cataloged a magazine, they generally don't have book cover images for those, so we removed those. And you can see some of the localized versions besides the Sage one running at Hood River and LeGrand right now. I think LeGrand is using the top circulated slider for the last 2 weeks.
The popular items slider.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so that's Ryan. He put that in. We've changed the forms over from the old Plinkett site and added a new form on the Sage lib.org site for patron questions that are directed through the catalog, and so Beth and I respond to those directly now, or forward them out if it's a more localized issue. And then I guess just with regards to the OPAC, I had just been kind of playing around with some possible updates to the layout and the fonts as opposed to the generic kind of Arial Geneva scheme that we have right now, which are in the next few slides. And also there were just some kind of localized changes that had to be fixed after the upgrade, like some layout issues that didn't manifest directly but were part of libraries that had specific templates like Klamath Falls or Treasure Valley, and most of the community colleges actually. So on that third slide, if you want to go down to that, Perry, that's kind of what it looks like now. Just a generic search for, I did just a generic search for cats so you could see item and record levels right there. And if you go to the fourth slide, they've kind of moved the link buttons and centered them and made them a little more equidistant, I guess. And then it's using Google's open font, Open Sans right there. That's just one option. And these are all, you can look at the slides through this link after the presentation. And then the fifth slide is using another font called Lato, which is, if you look at the KPAC, the Kids OPAC, that's the default font that it uses. And these weren't, I mean, anything, of course, that we have to do, but I just wanted you to know that there are options if people are not totally satisfied with the font or layout of the primary screen.
Oop, too far.
And then, okay, I think on 6 there, Perry, the test server right now is using the Open Sans font family for its display. So if you want to know what that just looks like dynamically, you could go to the test server and it will. It's displaying that properly right now. And then just real briefly for 7, Sage has all of its template files and non-sensitive information hosted through Git, which is kind of a version tracking service. So if we make a change and it breaks something, we can revert back to the way it was. I've also put up the print notices and the test server to the repository. So if you want to see what actually goes into making those print notices that you print out besides the email ones, the layouts are all in there as well. So there's that. And then lastly, I think the ticketing system before, there were some issues with people not seeing responses properly. And I think that's been worked out pretty well. We've been going back to kind of touch base with people to make sure they've seen the changes or the responses we've made to them. And let's see, I've done some security and just application updates to keep us up to date with security fixes on our servers. We've got, Beth and I are working on some kind of reports ordering for how it's displayed both in the staff client and just kind of the layout in general for it. And I'm working on some trainings. I've done local trainings for reports, but I'd like to do something similar to what David's done with the cataloging kind of training in the next few months. And then finally, the report server, before we were using our old database server, and now it's been switched back to that. so that any report queries that are using any report query, if you run a report and it blows up and something happens, it won't affect general Evergreen functionality. It will just it'll just affect the backup server. So that won't, runaway reports will no longer affect Evergreen operation. And
nice.
I think that's it for an update.
Very nice. Thank you, Brent. Beth, were you all done with your report?
Yes, unless people have questions.
Okay. Any questions for Beth or Brent? I just want to add a little bit from the chair position. I've signed up to go to the Idaho Library Association conference. It's being held at the BSU campus from September 30th to October 2nd. Trying to explore opportunities for possibly SAGE and Idaho libraries to partner or exchange ideas and information. So if anybody wants to join me on that, you know, that's pretty close for those of us that are over here by the border.
Yeah, Perry, where is it being held?
On the Boise State campus.
Okay.
I guess I do have a question on updating the website, the SAGE website, to you know, say post the meeting times, upload minutes files, agenda files, and such. I think we need to have a training session for committee chairs and SAGE officers on how to do that. Would that be something we could arrange?
Yeah, I mean, either that or we could pull down, do a short video if we have trouble getting everybody together. What do you think, Brent?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea. And we now have that, we've added in that file browser tab when you go to your account, so you can actually upload the files to that directory. So it should be a little easier. But yeah, a video would be good.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be helpful. In the meantime, I've just been posting the documents you've probably noticed onto the Google Drive and sharing it, since I'm more familiar with how to do that. So I hope that's worked for everyone.
It has. We should be able to, I know Brent and I have been trying to come up with something that's pretty easy for people to transfer files. So I think everybody will be happy with it. We just got to get the word out.
Okay. One other thing to note, some people have already discovered this, but I did create a Sage Library System Facebook page. It's not terribly active, you know, I don't post a lot on there, but if you don't, my theory is if you don't have your own place taken with an official representation, then you're liable for someone to come in and impersonate you, and we don't want that. So,
good point. Yeah.
So I've got that created and posted all of our upcoming SAGE User Council meetings, assuming that they're going to be approved on the regular schedule that we have now. All right, moving on. Any reports from the cataloging committee? Don't see David signed on. No one here to represent the cataloging committee. Beth, do you have any comments on their behalf?
Between Dee and I, we can just indicate basics. I mean, we're meeting on a regular basis. We're going to be reviewing the cataloging standards manual. I've got some work to get it on the new website in its original form before the next meeting. David's been doing regional cataloging trainings, trying to increase skill levels and touch on various aspects of cataloging. That it's been well received. The people have gotten a lot out of them, and there's one scheduled in the Dalles later this week, and he's hoping to do one in Southern Oregon somewhere pretty soon too. So things are progressing along well. Anything to add to that, Dia?
Not that I can remember.
Okay.
If I can jump in, he did do a training here in Pendleton, and it was very well received. We thank him for doing that. It was great.
This is Linda from the Plaintree Health Resource Center, and I love that David is offering these regional classes. I do have one request, and if he could somehow get that notice out a little sooner. I don't know about anybody else, but here we're a two-staff operation, and especially in the summertime, having a bit more notice would be really helpful regarding getting staff to those trainings, because we'd love to participate, and it just, none of them have worked out because the notice has been too short for us.
That's true here in LeGrand too, because summer reading program keeps us very busy, and without advance notice, it's hard to get people out.
Okay, we'll work on that. Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the Courier Committee.
Okay, the Courier Committee actually met briefly at the beginning of this month, but a couple of us were out, including myself and the chair, so we're going to actually meet again. So there's really nothing to report other than we are continuing to look at courier procedures and concerns. I guess that's it.
Okay. And I don't believe there's been any development committee meetings.
Nope, none so far.
Skip that. Financial statement, I did include in your packet financial reports for the end of the year so far that showed the closeout for the bills and the revenue that we'd gotten so far, but for the fiscal year of 2014-15. But there have been a couple of claims made to recover grant funds, so that is still subject to change. But our ending cash at this point is about $103,000, which I believe is above what we had projected. So we'll see how that plays out as we get more bills in that accrue back to that fiscal year. Okay, Governance Committee. Since Marie is not on, I'm going to refer to an email that she had sent about the Governance Committee meeting on July 15th. It says the SAGE MOU provides for an entry fee to be charged for new libraries entering the system, but does not detail how that fee is calculated. Attendees discussed several possible ways to develop a fair fee that covers the cost of a new library into the system without burdening current members. The committee members recognize that there are certain base costs that are common to include travel expenses of staff members, per diem mileage, training sessions for new member staff, initial migration and setup fees. Those costs can be clearly defined and will be roughly the same for everyone's institution that joins SAGE. The second cost that can vary is dependent upon the size and condition of the joining institution records. The cost per record need to be determined after an evaluation by SAGE staff. An estimate cost would then be added to the base cost to develop the total costs per plus dues that a library would be charged. Speaking to Beth after the meeting, Beth apparently concurred with that plan. After she returns from a short trip, she'll provide some cost calculations to help us flesh out that approach. So that is where the governance committee is now. Does anybody have any comments on that?
I'll be working on those cost figures in the next day or two, and we'll be sending something out to the governance committee.
Thank you. I think that is a good approach. From our past discussions, that encompasses the concerns of new members not absorbing staff time from already paying members that they haven't actually paid for yet. And also the issue of the work that needs to be done on the records and getting those migrated, which is extra staff cost. So that looks like they're going in the right direction there for me. Any other comments about that new membership plan for the governance committee? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Now that we have the SAGE library system as a subdivision of the Baker County Library District, the meetings of the user council and all committee meetings are subject to public meeting law. So we need to make sure that those are publicly posted and follow Oregon Public Meetings Law. So I've created a resolution to establish regular meeting times for the year, unless we'd like to change the current schedule of the third Tuesday of the month at 10.
Sounds great.
This is John at CGCC. The time is fine, Tuesday at 10.
Great. If anyone would like to make a motion on that resolution.
Ryan and LeGrand, I'll move to adopt the resolution. Or I'll second it if Dia wants to be the official motion maker.
Doesn't matter to me. I can second it too, Ryan.
Okay. It's been moved by Ryan and seconded by Dia to approve the resolution establishing a regular meeting date, time, and location for 2015-16. Anyone object to approving that resolution? Okay, hearing none, that is approved by unanimous consent. And now I'd like to invite Cheryl Hancock to present her membership request for the Harney County Schools. She's applied for several grants to get that done. And I don't think we've heard the pitch officially from her, so I invited her to present at this meeting.
Okay, I'm here and I'm going to make my pitch. So I don't think there's any argument that school libraries are in trouble in Oregon and across the nation. And you've probably all seen the state library list showing the number of school librarians have been decreasing dramatically over the past years, and Harney County is definitely part of this trend. In our county, there are 11 school districts and an ESD, and we currently only had actually one dedicated library staff member who just retired. So, and all the districts have libraries, but they're in various states. For example, the elementary school, the largest one, has no automation, no card catalog. It's run by the teachers with their classes. The middle school is running an old version of Bullet, so they're automated, but they were closed because they have no staff. And then the high school libraries were closed for a year. So we decided we wanted to do something about it, and we came up with Project Cool, which stands for Connecting Our Own Libraries. It's a 2-year implementation. This year we received 3 grants to get it started. So this first year we would like to bring Slater Elementary, Hines Middle School, and the ESD into the SAGE system. Those two schools are part of the largest school district, which is the in-town one. So the elementary and the ESD, we need to barcode and load records. Middle school, as I said, is already barcoded and will be fairly easy to convert to Evergreen from Follett. The second year, we have planned to expand this to the rural schools via the ESD. But not all the rural schools are going to want to be SAGE members. ESD provides library service to the rural. So maybe only a couple will want to be members, maybe none. I don't know at this point. We're kind of feeling our way with this project. We have district couriers that will pick up and deliver the materials, and I'm assuming will be the drop site for the school. We are going to hire a part-time coordinator for this project, and School District 3 has just committed to hiring a part-time staff member with library duties. It's not a teacher librarian, but it is a step forward, and current school board members fully support hiring a teacher librarian in the future, so I feel like we're already making progress. So I talked to the council about a year ago about the possibility of our schools joining, but I didn't have any funding, so I didn't want to ask for a vote. And now we have our funding, and obviously SAGE members is the key to the success of this project. So I'm hoping you will approve adding the 2 schools, the elementary school and middle school, and the ESD to SAGE. Thank you. Any questions? Everybody's very quiet today.
I thought it was a very good summary. Good job, Cheryl.
So this is Buzzy. Did we get some sort of application form to review? Because I thought that a while ago we discussed new members and that we would try to have some sort of application. Or even if it's just the form that Beth uses to gather information about them.
We certainly have that old form that I could have Cheryl fill out. I think we talked about possibly coming up with a new document, but we never, it didn't move forward. Are you just wanting something formal for us to review, Buzzy, or?
Well, I mean, it would be nice to, at least for me, I'd like to be able to see something. I mean, the other question is, I mean, I'd love to have them on board, but based on the explanation of the situation, I'm wondering what the long-term ability of them to fulfill the responsibilities of being a SAGE member are.
Well, we are signing a memorandum of understanding with the school district and the ESD, and part of that memorandum is the understanding that they will pick up the grant will pay for the SAGE membership fee this year, but the school district and the ESD will pick up the membership fee in the future.
I guess I wasn't so much meaning the fee as the staff. Are you proposing them as a full member, a full circulating school member?
Well, I think so, but I think that Beth and I were still talking about how to bring each one in. I mean, I assumed in the grant that the elementary school and the middle school would be full members. ESD as well, but I don't know for sure.
I guess I more meant like the staff time to handle holds and deal with other SAGE responsibilities, not so much the fee itself.
Okay, well, our part-time person will be a 2-year position, and the school district has a part-time position. We're looking at about maybe 20 or 30 hours a week combined. So, and I think I feel that there is a commitment to keep this going. I think the school board and the administrators are fully behind improving their libraries, and I think that state and maybe federal legislation is going to force the issue in the future.
Okay.
Cheryl, I just had a question. Do you have letters of support from these that you submitted with your grant?
Yes, I do.
Okay. That would show the commitment in writing.
This is Linda, and I agree with Buzzy that I think it would be great to have something written, something formal, some form of a formal application. I think it's a great idea to have them be part of SAGE, but I think that we just need to formalize the process. And also, I have a question regarding the cost, since and I understand you mentioned that the ESD is, I think you said it was the ESD who will be is in support of it and will be your fiscally responsible after the grant runs out. But I'm just wondering, do they know what the cost of that is going to look like at this point?
Yes, I've fully discussed costs with administrators of ESC and the schools and the district. So yes, they are aware that it will cost money to be a member of SAGE. They are aware that they will have to pay this in the future. Funding is always going to be an issue, but they support the project and they support sustainability. And that's, I don't know how to get any, I mean, we're willing to fill out an application. Of course we are, if you come up with one. But I don't know how to give you a 100% guarantee that they're going to be long-term members, other than the fact that we're going to get this 2 years of grant-funded implementation and that we have support for this project beyond it.
So could we get the application and the fee details by say a month from now, so that we can have that out to the membership and have a vote on accepting the request at the September meeting?
We can certainly do that. I'd like to actually do it sooner than then. I feel like Cheryl is starting this grant process without knowing for sure that they're going to be accepted. I understand that there's a request for the paperwork. Just wondering if we can get the paperwork filled out and maybe do an email vote on membership so that we don't have to wait the 2 months.
Discussion on that proposal?
I'd be okay with doing an email vote on something like that. It's not a
I
big
would
deal.
as well.
They probably want to get in sooner rather than later, because the later they get, the closer they are to the school year starting, and probably don't want to be doing a changeover like that any closer to that point than they have to.
Okay. That vote would be solicited from the user council. Our bylaws say that the majority vote comes from the user council, so we could certainly do that.
As far as the paperwork goes, do you want me to send the form that we used in the past? I'll take a look at it and see if there's any obvious changes that we need to make and get that approved before we fill it out, or just it's good enough for this application and then we make changes for the future? How's everybody feel about that?
I don't ever recall seeing the application form.
It was actually just used when we were in our various grant processes and bringing new members in. It was basically an informational sheet. There was also a membership requirements document that indicated, what kind of computer connections they needed, those kind of things. There was a couple different documents. One that was just meant to gather, okay, what's your estimate of how many items you have in your collection, how many staff computers do you have? It's pretty basic.
Would that meet the information needs that you had in mind, Buzzy? Buzzy says yes.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I'll work with Cheryl on getting those documents put together.
Thank you.
And we will have a vote electronically as soon as possible on that.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Any agenda items for the next meeting? We will already have had the vote on the membership request for Harney County Schools, so that won't be on there. I don't have any in mind at this time, other than officer elections. And I will actually be out of town for September on an extended vacation, so that meeting will need to be organized by the vice chair, I guess, John, if you can make that, unless we can make other arrangements.
No, we can do that.
Okay. Anything else to add before we adjourn the meeting? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned at 10:58. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Perry,
Thank
for all
you.
your work.
Thank you, Barry. That was wonderful.